Chris and Joe Show, KTAR News. See, I'm not as good as Chris. He wouldn't have stepped on the fireball right there. I just stepped right on it, Jania. I said, here comes fireball, here comes Huizenga. I'm just going to slam right into it. In for Chris Merrill today, Matt Salmon right over there. Matt, great to have you here.
Oh, great to be here.
So we're talking all about this second strike controversy and the war of words between Senator Kelly and War Secretary Hegseth and President Trump.
Right.
Now,
but it's not just Kelly. I mean, there's lots of people.
Well, there were 5 other Democrats in the video. Plus,
okay. I thought you were talking about the strikes.
Okay. Yep. There are a lot of people who have concerns about the second strike.
Right.
And I've been looking a lot into that over the last few days here. And I was, well, you know better than I do, because you and I both are not judge advocate generals.
Right.
But you know what it's like to be in Washington. You've had to, I'm sure you've been in backroom meetings where you've had to look at some things and figure out, whoa, is this really on the up and up? Now, I saw this article from the New York Times today, and here's what it has to say. And I thought this was really interesting because this is what I've kind of thought with this too. They say, as a matter of plain reality, an unarmed speedboat, even if it's carrying drugs, is not a warship. And none of the 11 people aboard, not just the 2 initial survivors, but also the 9 people that the U.S. military killed in its first strike, were fighting anyone. So should we not just be looking at the second strike, but also the first strike? Because if I walk out in the street right now, and let's say I know that somebody is dealing crack, I can't just shoot him in the head and say, that is a drug dealer right there. That person is a terrorist. I can't go out and do that. So I'm naive on this. What gives the U.S. military the authority to blow a drug boat out of the water, whether it's coming from Colombia or Venezuela?
If they did it on their own volition, then they'd be in really bad shape. I mean, they would be very vulnerable, but they're not. They're doing it at the behest of the commander-in-chief, who has broad powers to determine what constitutes an enemy of our country. Now, he has come out and declared them as...
So if the president declares drug dealers in the U.S.?
That's pretty unlikely. Now,
but what if he did?
Well, I think that would be a much more difficult test, because when you use the military on American soil, which pretty much you're forbidden from doing through the posse comitatus laws that are on the books. But when it comes to foreign waters, foreign airspace, the president has pretty wide latitude as far as declaring an enemy combatant. And he has declared that the drug smugglers and everything are terrorists.
So what's the big deal about this September 2nd strike then, and not the first strike, but the second strike? What makes the first strike okay in the eyes of many? Because we've got Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas, who's the chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee. He calls the strikes highly lawful and lethal.
Well, he also said that the second strike is no big deal either, that you have to completely eradicate the threat.
Both of them, he calls that. But then,
but he's one of the lone voices in that direction.
But then on the other side, you've got Representative Himes from Connecticut, who's the leading Democrat in the House Intelligence Committee.
And he's
called it one of the most troubling things I've seen in my lifetime in public service.
Well, and when you look at some of the other comments made by Senator Tom Tillis, who is a Republican, he's basically said that if these things are true, it could constitute a war crime.
The second strike.
The second strike.
So what makes the second strike so different than the first strike? Because to me, you've still got guys in a boat, let's say they had drugs, so we can blow up the boat the first time, but then if they're clinging to boards and pieces, then we can't?
Generally speaking, it's this. When the threat is neutralized and they no longer possess a threat to the lives of the soldiers, then that's what we're talking about.
So we assess that.
So if you shot a plane out of the air, this is another. Here's another hypothetical example, but maybe it'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Let's say you shoot a plane out of the air that poses a threat, and the pilot ejects and is parachuting down. If you then went and wasted him as well, we'd be talking the same thing.
Okay.
Because he doesn't pose a threat anymore.
But the United States, the president has said, if we have guys in a boat with drugs, or even that we believe has drugs in it, that is headed towards the U.S. from Venezuela, from Colombia, wherever it is, that we can blow up that boat because that is a threat. But once we blow it up the first time, then if there are survivors clinging to pieces, then we have to leave it alone.
We'll give you
is that right?
Yes, that is exactly the point. Okay. And it'd be kind of like, you've shot the ship out of the water, and then you take your rowboat over with a 45 and shoot them in the head. I mean, they're not they don't have any weapons on them. They don't pose a threat. And that's exactly what the debate is over. And it is so serious that the chairman of the Armed Services Committee on the Senate side and the House side have called for a thorough vetting and investigation. The Republicans on both of those, that chair both of those committees, have called for a thorough vetting. One of them, Roger Wicker, is a really good friend of mine. I served with him in the U.S. House, and he's as straight a shooter as they come.
That voice right there is Matt Salmon. Matt, how long do you think, Matt's in for Chris Merrill today, how long do you think all of these investigations are going to take to play out? Are we talking months? Are we talking years?
No, I think they'll take months.
And do you think that the American public will get a satisfactory answer one way or the other? Either this second strike was illegal, we shouldn't have done it, or it was legal, green light, or is it going to be murky and messy?
If it's the way most things end up in D.C., it's going to be murky and messy.
Oh, boy.
And I wish I could say differently, but it's going to get very, very partisan. And it shouldn't. I mean, the fact is, if this was a Democrat that had done the same thing, a Democrat president, a Democrat administration, I guarantee you a lot more Republicans would be screaming bloody murder.
And a little closer to home, we've been talking about the allegations with the second strike and looking at what exactly is going on there and the war of words between Senator Kelly and President Trump. But closer to home, there is this battle playing out between Secretary Fontes and the Arizona Citizen Clean Elections Commission over what was the No Labels Party, what now wants to be the Arizona Independent Party. And Secretary Fontes has defended his decision to approve renaming the No Labels Party as the Arizona Independent Party, but there's this lawsuit from the Arizona Clean Elections Commission, and they are essentially saying that state law allows the Secretary of State to recognize new parties, but not rename existing ones.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe, and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.